Steve Spott as well, head coach of the Toronto Marlies this year, joining us right off the hop along with Bob McGill and Todd Crocker. Steve, thanks for coming on this morning.
No, thanks for having me, guys. It's an exciting day. I know the boys are excited about seeing their sweaters for the first time and dealing with the media, so it's been a good start to the morning.
Unofficial start to the season today, and you have 2 exhibition games coming up. How much are you looking forward to getting going in the playing department, the game department?
Well, it's good. We had a good, obviously, preseason in London and got an opportunity to see a lot of the prospects in the organization. And so you go from a real high coaching in London, now you've kind of sat back a little bit, and now we're dealing with a smaller group and waiting for maybe some players to come back from Toronto, obviously.
Now, is that obviously the key for you, is you haven't been able to run a full practice because you've got enough defensemen but not enough forwards right now, and obviously with Fraser McLaren being hurt, David Bolin not in the lineup the last couple of days, Kessel being out with the suspension, it's the forwards that you're coming back. Have you had any word? Are you going to get somebody before Friday, obviously, when you have your first of 2 exhibition games this weekend?
Well, that's something that I'll talk to Dave Poulin today, Bob, and find out what their plan is. You know, from what I understand, Randy's going to want to maybe work with a smaller group moving forward. So I'm assuming we'll see a few bodies here maybe within the next 24 to 48 hours. But we brought in a couple players to help us out Friday night and Saturday night, and Corey Nagy and Mike Ducos. So a couple of players with some American Hockey League experience and some grit. And so we're excited about adding those 2 kids today to the lineup.
Steve, we talked a fair bit over the last week or so about the fact that this is a young team. This is a group that is going to develop over the course of a year. But, with youth may come in experience, but also a lot of energy.
Well, it does, and I think that's something that I think our fans can be excited about, is you're going to see a lot of true prospects for this organization playing this year with the Marlies. So I think it's going to be great. We do have a lot of energy. A lot of guys are excited about playing a bigger role and getting a bigger opportunity this year with our hockey club. So I think it's going to show on the ice. I think you'll see a lot of energy. They'll make some mistakes, but that's going to be part of the teaching process for myself, Gordon, Derek.
Still a fight for ice time.
Well, there will be. It's going to be competitive. There's a lot of natural talent, as Bob said, especially on the back end. You're going to have 6, 7, 8 guys back there that are legitimate NHL prospects, so there'll be a lot of internal competition, and you want that as a coach.
Steve, you're closest to coming out of the Ontario Hockey League, where players hit the 18, 19-year-old age, and from there looking up. Now you have some of those guys that have just taken that first step out of the Ontario Hockey League or junior or NCAA, right around that same age group. Although you're well-versed to coaching lots of different ages of players and skill sets, is that something you can directly relate to here with quite a few of your players perhaps in that realm?
I think that's important, John. I think, when I went through this process with the management team, I think that was a big part of it, was that, for me, I do have a lot of experience working with kids at this age, and I know they're different maybe than when Bob played. They're a little bit different with regards to some of the maintenance you have to deal with on a day-to-day basis, but it's something that I take a lot of pride in, and there's a lot of teaching. There's so much video now, and there's so much systems work that they're a different athlete than maybe when we played years ago.
Now, Steve, since you started in the OHL back with Plymouth, you're an assistant coach and then, assistant general manager and then head coach and general manager of the Kitchener Rangers. Now you're just a coach.
Yeah.
And that's got to be a good feeling, knowing that you've got more time to really, sink your teeth into these young kids, because of the fact that you're not out every night running around watching minor midget games and, looking at prospects for your OHL team. Now just coaching, that's got to be a good feeling, and I think something that you look forward to.
You do, Bob. I think that's been the biggest. People have said, "What's the biggest adjustment with the new opportunity?" And it's been that it's not having to deal with educational issues. It's not having to deal with billets anymore. So you do get to apply 100% of your effort to your craft, and that's just coaching now. So it's different, a good different, because, as you said, you're focused now just on your systems, your players, and not having to deal with some of the outside distractions that you do have to deal with in junior hockey.
Back when Bob played, so nobody's coming out to Steppenwolf anymore? Or Steve, you're going to use video a whole lot this year. What does that bring, as far as you're concerned, to the team?
Well, I think, when I went through the interview process, one thing I asked for was a full-time video coach, and they were able to find a real talented young man, Mark Phelan, who was at Northeastern University and worked with Greg Cronin a few years back. So Mark's going to be a big part of our coaching staff, and between himself and Chris Dennis with the Leafs, we'll be able to share video. So a player like Tyler Biggs, for example, might be able to see a lot of David Clarkson's clips, or a player of that type. So we'll use a lot of video this year and show the players, not only our players with the Leafs, but maybe NHL players around the league, that they can mirror themselves after. So it's going to be a huge resource for us.
Hey, and the video doesn't lie, does it?
No, unfortunately, it doesn't, Bob.